You are watching Barnstable this morning. Joining me now over the phone is Town Council President Jessica Rapp Grassetti. She will help us find out what's on the agenda for tonight's Town Council meeting. First up, I noticed there are a lot of discussions from some key community players in the debate on homelessness. Talk to me about some of these presentations.
Good morning, Sarah. How are you? Yes, I'm taking out of order prior to public comment and council response to public comment. It will be more of a workshop associated with homelessness. And we'll have it started off with the police chief, Paul McDonald, and he'll be doing an overview of the associated costs with regards to the police department, on the associated costs of homelessness. And I think he'll look at a 12-month view of what the department costs in personnel and time and efforts regarding the issue of homelessness. And then Rick Presbury, the CEO and President of Housing Assistance Corporation, will respond with their immediate and long-term plans at NOAA. As you know, in the paper, it's been reported that there was a vote from the board of the Housing Assistance Corporation that they want to relocate NOAA shelter. And so we'll hear from him with regards to that. And then Michael Sweeney, who's the Vice President Administration and Finance of HAC, will answer questions that were sent over to him by my office. And these questions regard the costs associated with homelessness, specifically NOAA, and some of the questions about the where the clients are coming from and how they're tracking the clients that come to the shelter, and the services that they're recommending, and are they connecting them to services, and the clients following through on their recommendations, as well as how HAC tracks the data, and at what intervals do they report the status of the state and federal funding agencies. And we've asked also for some annual reporting and some copies of financial reports. So just the costs of the NOAA shelter, specifically with regards to Housing Assistance Corporation. And then Elizabeth Worfbane, she's the executive director of the Highness and Main Street Business Improvement District, and she's also the chair of the Day Center Executive Committee. She'll briefly summarize the task force progress to date. And then Deb Crow, who's vice president of the Hyannis Civic Association and also a member of the Day Center Executive Committee, she'll present the overview of the model the committee's been framing. This is a new model, because I think we can all agree that the current model of NOAA shelter is broken. It's not functioning. So, and then Paula Schnepp, who's the network coordinator of the Cape and Islands regional network on homelessness, will present the point-in-time homeless survey she's conducting. I know she's busy tabulating information, and she'll be giving us an update on where she is, with regards to that survey. So I expect that there'll be a lot of back and forth from counselors, and I really appreciate everyone coming before the council to bring this issue to the forefront for the council.
Definitely a very important discussion that has been continuing over time, over the last few months, and really interesting that you're making sure to bring someone from every important organization here in town.
Yeah, some of the major stakeholders, and I can see as a result of this too, now that we've done a fair amount of fact finding, I think I can see this turning into a possible council committee to further bring further stakeholders with regards to the county and state and federal stakeholders getting involved in this.
Absolutely. Next up on the agenda, going into old business, we have an appropriation order of $504,000, and this is for an affordable housing development or project in Marston's Mills.
Yes, I will say that it's been requested by the applicant that this item be withdrawn from the council agenda. So we still have to list it. It is a public hearing, but we have to withdraw the item at the request of the applicant. So I'll be asking for a motion to withdraw the item.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And then moving on to the next item, this is going to actually come to a vote now. You're looking to add licensing to Article 3, and this involves civil fingerprinting for criminal record checks.
Yeah, this is with certain licenses, the hawking, peddling, or other door-to-door salespeople, as well as ice cream truck vendors, and this is would require these licensees to submit for fingerprinting and a background check. I think we all can agree that contact with people, unknown people that come into the community, we want to make sure that they've passed a criminal record background check.
Looking ahead to new business, an appropriation and transfer order in the amount of $35,000, and this is for the installation of groundwater monitoring at the West Barnstable shooting range.
Yes, and this will be referred to a public hearing on October 1st, and this is in order to provide a complete and thorough analysis of the possible contamination at the site, and the DPW is proposing to install several groundwater monitoring wells, which would intercept the flow leaving the site. So, I think we know that because of all the shooting that's taken place over the years, the lead bullets and shot, et cetera, since 2012, of course, it's been temporarily closed. But I think what we need to do is we know that it's bound up in the shallow soils, but we just want to make sure that it hasn't broken down and exposure to acidic rain hasn't migrated towards the groundwater. So want to keep that. Make sure we've keeping our environment safe for that. But that item is on the 1st, and I know the shooting range item is slated to come back before the council on the 1st of October. So I will be asking for a continuation of the quote-unquote land swap items until we have a little bit more further information. And I know that's not going to sit well with some folks, but I think it's important that we get all the facts before the council before we make a decision.
Yes, definitely an important thing to have all the information you need before making very important decisions. Looking ahead too, I see an amendment maybe for vehicle storage regulations in town. Talk to me a little bit about the purpose of this amendment.
This is coming forward. This is an amendment of an ordinance we already have, that's the storage of vehicles, but this is to, there's so many constituent complaints of tarped or openly exposed unregistered boats and a ton of boats stored on properties or trailers and vehicles, unregistered vehicles. And this ordinance is being amended to only allow unregistered vehicles to be stored on the premise if they're properly screened, so that they're not considered an eyesore nuisance from the public viewing. And there's no prohibition if the boat or vehicle or trailer is registered. We know that come the winter time, everybody wants to store their boat on their property, and that's fine. But as long as it's a registered boat and not accumulating old boats that are not registered or vehicles that are not registered.
And then looking forward as well, there's a vacant and foreclosing properties amendment being proposed. What is this involving?
And that's the Chapter 224, and this again is already under an ordinance within the town. And there was a recent case that was litigated in the Mass Supreme Judicial Court. And it struck down some of the provisions of the City of Springfield's ordinance, which our ordinance was very close to mirroring. And because of that, it the requirements for posting of security for bank-owned foreclosed properties. The court felt it was preempted by the state's foreclosure statute. So this removes the provisions found by the Supreme Judicial Court as being inconsistent with municipal home rule authority. So also, the building commissioner requested the provision requiring electricity to be shut off, deleted, so that existing alarm systems remain operative. So there's just some tweaking to that item as well.
And last but not least, I want to talk a little bit about the proposal to rehabilitate or update the Craigville Beach bathhouse. There is a request for $450,000 for those repairs. This isn't going to be voted on, though, yet.
No, this is first read, and that will go to a public hearing on October 1st. And I can speak to it now or further down. But, I think we can all agree that the Craigville Beach House, which sees so much traffic in the summertime, and it needs renovating. But I know, and this, what's good about this coming back now is it's had the opportunity to be looked at by Recreation and DPW, and the Centerville. I think Centerville Civic has seen the conceptual plans of this. This is not to do significant exterior renovations because that would trigger some necessity to elevate the building, but just to do some roof repairs and inside sanitary safety repairs and accessibility inside.
Yeah, definitely a little cheaper to renovate than start from scratch. Well, thank you, Jessica, for talking with us this morning. I really appreciate it, and of course, look forward to chatting with you in a few weeks.
My pleasure, Sarah. Have a great day.
You as well. Jessica Rapp Grassetti is Town Council President for Barnstable. For Barnstable This Morning, I'm Sarah Mantle.